What is up, guys? This is Limitz. I have finally gotten around to making my Halo Wars 2 video. I've been pretty busy. I know many of you guys have not seen me on Xbox Live or anything like that. Well, I've been having a lot of issues with Xbox Live, getting accounts to stay gold. Basically everything turned silver on me within 2 or 3 days because of a mistake I made about 3 or 4 months ago entering Canadian codes. It somehow switched my console to Canadian locale when in fact it is actually an American one. All the billing information is American. So after several hours of phone calls with Microsoft, they really cannot fix my console and what has happened to it. So for future reference, guys, never take another country's codes and insert them for your Xbox Live. It will turn out negative. So back to Halo Wars 2. I am excited. As you guys can see the trailer, I think that the Brute could be a primary focus, but I think the underlying message of the trailer is that we will not be seeing an Arbiter in Halo Wars 2. I think he could be an optional leader, but Covenant leaders themselves might be gone or extinct. So my reason behind that logic is that since this is going to be a double platform game for Windows and the Xbox One, I don't see how you can run Covenant leaders on a PC and effectively micro the way you could on a console. I think Halo Wars 1 was unique in that way, and that's something that you have to put on a console. And I have no idea if these consoles are going to be able to play against the PC, where it's going to be kind of compatible and you can cross matchmake. It would be very difficult to do that. So jumping into what I am showing you right now is a beta of Halo Wars 1, which is what I think the direction 343 and this new company will take Halo Wars 2. I think Halo Wars 2 is going to be more StarCraft based, and so you'll see a base more like this, or an area where you can build upon. And since it's going to be double platform, new generation console, the graphics are going to be much better. So I know this is a beta, but these graphics are much better than Halo Wars 1's graphics. As you can see, that was an AirPad, which looks nothing like the AirPad in Halo Wars 1. So I think that you could see Halo Wars 2 kind of taking more of a StarCraft approach. Basically, you can build your buildings in separate areas. You'll have your command center, which is right there located in the top right, and you'll just be able to place your buildings strategically in a certain area, and your base will be kind of in a generalized section of the map. And I think that's the direction Halo Wars 2 is going to go with, and that's going to eliminate Covenant leaders. You'll probably still have your leader powers and, some simplistic things that Halo Wars 1 had. But other than that, I think you will see Halo Wars 2 being a completely different game than Halo Wars 1. So something that is highly anticipated in Halo Wars 2 is a third faction or race to play. And I don't care if it's the Forerunners or the Flood. Maybe both of them will be introduced to Halo Wars 2. I highly doubt it, but I kind of expect at least one. And I think that will add a completely new element to the game and make the game so much better than Halo Wars 1. Like I said, I was never really a big fan of the leaders or individual leaders for each race. I thought that one leader always trumped another leader in Halo Wars, and it was kind of like a rock, paper, scissors effect. And when you got to a loading screen on a map, you could basically 90% who was going to win or lose if the skill was kind of on an equal playing field for each player. Another thing is the balancing issues. Obviously, I hope Gauss is nerfed. Other things in the game, such as leaders and Banshees having a broken boost ability, glitches that leaders could do, such as the Vortex glitch, the Rage glitch. I hope everything's patched. Stasis glitching should be gone. They could also introduce new units to the game, such as right here on the screen you can see a Rhino on the left. That was in Halo Wars 1 campaign, but it was never introduced in the multiplayer. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb, and it might be more like the branch. Actually, branch, limb, same damn thing. I could go out on a limb here, and it'd be more like standing on the trunk still. Basically, if you added the Rhino to Halo Wars 1, it would make absolutely no difference in the game at all. The meta is pretty much stuck where it's at, and the Rhino would be only used for turtling and I guess bringing a fun element to the game. But nonetheless, they should have something like that in the game. Going back to this video, you can see that the smoothness of the Warthog driving around in circles is much better than in Halo Wars 1. Something about like the pathfinding needs to be done. Pathfinding in Halo Wars 1 was atrocious, and in this it's kind of hard to tell, but that's probably because this guy is not microing. One other thing is, once again, this game looks like it's built for a PC as opposed to a console, which is why Halo Wars 1 looked nothing like this. But I really do think Halo Wars 2 is going to look a lot more like this. It's going to look a lot more StarCraft-like, and your maps are going to be completely different. As you'll see, he's about to jump a huge crevice in the middle of this map, and there was nothing like that in Halo Wars at all. And I think that if you put a crevice like that in the middle of a multiplayer match and only certain units could go over it, or you were forcing players to build a unit and have to pelican it over, that would be something insane. One other thing is, add money hooks, add reactors, add those extra things to the map to kind of separate and make the game more interesting, as opposed to what it was in Halo Wars 1. I know that 3v3 only had 3 maps, 4 if you bought the DLC, but it's so redundant to play the same maps over and over, and the only one that actually had hooks in it were broken and unbalanced. I mean, garrisoning in Fort Dean isn't really anything special, other than if you want a turtle, but Frozen Valley had a reactor, and Exile had a reactor, but there was no money hook, there was no mega turret like you see in Tundra. Adding things like that into the game, especially in big battles, would cause more chaos, more strategy, and make the game ultimately a lot more fun. So I'm going to take off, guys. Go ahead and leave a comment if you guys think Halo Wars 2 will be anything like what I'm talking about, and I will be trying to get my Xbox working soon, hopefully, so I can play a little bit of Halo Wars 1 before Halo Wars 2. See ya.